So hey, I'm Bill Gross. I'm with XP in Los Angeles, California, and I have become the chair of the National Probate Group. And our goal is our process is every week to get together. There's usually a few of us, record it, and that way you can see it afterwards and ask questions on improving our skills in probate. My basic thesis is there's not just one or two, but 11 ways to make a sale as a real estate agent in probate real estate. When you buy the data or coaching systems, usually they're going to teach you one or two methods. One method is prospecting directly to petitioners, and another is directly to attorneys. And I say that those are both, possible and can fit for your business, may or may not. But those companies are in the business of selling data and selling the coaching, not necessarily helping you build your real estate practice. And there's 9 other ways. I teach that class, then the 11 ways, and each week we do one of them. Last week, we started with number 1, which was pre-probate. Turns out that this next 2 weeks, we're going to cover numbers 2 and 3, which are going to be the same ones other companies teach, but maybe I'll give a little different take on how to be productive and successful based on my experience on those. So let's see if we can help you guys make some money today. So our topic today is probate is of 11 ways to sell probate real estate. Number 2 is probate leads marketing to the petitioner. And I want to say as an overview, it's not a quick fix. You have to work hard, be consistent, have to follow up, you have to learn and improve all the time. And let me just go back. Who am I? I've been in real estate since '86. I've been in mortgage and real estate. I've been in sales management. I've been executive and owner. I've been probate focused as my lead gen exclusively for the last 2.5 years. Certifications, I say I've taken them all. I've taken all that I've learned about 5. Because I committed all my lead generating and marketing 2.5 years ago to probate, I take every opportunity I can to take classes and learn. So I've done all leads.com, I've done MTI, Mike Torres, I've done Paul Horn's certification class, Kevin Sales, Probate 101. If you know of another one I should take, please let me know. And I do in-depth research. I bought the probate code book for the state of California. I watch YouTubes, I've read books. I've made this really my area to master. And then pre-COVID, I went to court every day. And LA County is the largest probate court in America. It's concentrated all the county into one court area. There's 9 rooms. And I would go every day for 3 hours. I would watch the court proceedings. I would meet people before and afterwards and lead generate there. And so I can say, on a quote here, I've seen more court confirmation sales in Los Angeles County over the last 2 years than any agent, attorney, or judge. That means watching sales go on, being a listing agent, being a buyer's agent. And on top of that, I have a database. I track literally every single sale in our county. And then I host calls like this with agents all across the country to learn more. I currently have a referral outstanding in New York. I'm working on some in Florida, Kansas, and other states as well. So we're trying to build this into a national business. So again, before we start, the fundamentals are always the fundamentals. Mindset before money. Make sure your mind's right about this. The shortcut in real estate is always the hard work. People often say to me, I hear probate is easy. There's nothing in real estate that I'm aware of that's easy that will be successful in the long run. And I would refer you to the Zig Ziglar water pump story. You could search that in YouTube and see a great story about what it means to put consistent work in over time. If you stop short, you lose all the results. And then also, again, fundamental concept, there's only 2 ways to generate business: investing time and or money. So if you have money, you can buy data, you can do marketing activities, you can delegate. If not, then you have to put your time in, make your phone calls, door knocking, things like that. Real estate's a contact business. It's all about how many people you talk to. It's also a numbers game. The more people you talk to, the more money you make. And then your come from, particularly in probate, is important. I think a lot of agents come from, some try to come from a quick fix. That's not going to work. Some try to come from take advantage of the seller and buy the property cheap, flip it, make a profit. Nothing wrong with a profit, but I just don't think that's a good come from to be successful list property in large numbers over a long period of time. And then lastly, be a solution to all things real estate. I think this is a good rule for all realtors that we're looking for problems and then we solve them and then we get paid rather than the other way around. And I say the title is the problem and probate's the solutions. So you're looking for people who have problems. And what do I mean by that? So probate, this is what 4 probates might look like. Grandma and grandpa left me the property. you're door knocking them, you cold call them, or a friend calls you. I was left the property, I had to do with it. In other words, my siblings are fighting over this property that mom and dad left us. Another one is the property is supposed to be in a living trust, but it looks like it's not. It didn't get deeded in properly, or it had the wrong address on the deed, or something like that happened. And then once we started probate, we got stuck. These are four very common problems that we get, that I get when we lead generate. And these are really all great leads. These are problems. This is what we're looking for. Grandma and grandpa left the property. The solution is help them through probate. Maybe help advance them some money to pay for an attorney or their expenses. In LA County, filing the probate can be $3,481 for the probate fees. It can be $1,000 to advertise the legal status of the case. You're probably into a couple $1,000s without any legal fees at all. And so we often will advance them attorney's fees. My siblings are fighting. Well, you need to find an attorney who can help you with a fight, or a probate litigation specialist. Mistakes customers make all the time is they get an attorney they know, who is not all qualified to deal with this particular property. It would be like hiring your local real estate agent to sell, say, the Golden Gate Bridge. You may have a license that lets them sell the bridge, but they may not know anything about bridges. And same with attorneys. Litigation is a very specialized business. The probate is supposed to be in a trust. In California, this happens a lot. People deed a property in and out of the trust, maybe to refinance or something, and they forget to put it back in, or they do get the living trust set up and they never put the property in the trust. And there's a process called a Hegstead petition where you can file to get the property put in the trust. It's not cheap, it's not free, but it's cheaper than the whole probate. And we have attorneys to help us with that. And then lastly, I started my probate and got stuck. And this is a common one. And I very commonly will refer people to a probate document filing company that would help them get the paperwork done much cheaper than an attorney in most cases. I don't know Virginia or all states, but in many states, the process is $650 for the online forms, $1,250 is their concierge level service. And in most states, you're gonna spend thousands of dollars more than that to get the job done. So these are all deals. These are not problems. This is what we're looking for. We want people to call us with these problems. You can learn all the possibilities, or just call me if you have a scenario. I'm glad to do some research. I'm glad to learn out-of-state scenarios. So if you have a question, if you're in California, I can really research it deeply. I can find the probate documents and help you with the game plan. Wherever you are in the country, I can probably help you and or your state borrow some money to help defray expenses or get started in the process. So again, I teach 11 ways to get a sale in probate. That was 2 weeks ago. That's recorded here in EXP Workplace. I also have it on my YouTube channel if you're interested in seeing the 11 ways. And I have 2 11 ways classes. There's 11 ways to get a sale in probate as a realtor. There's 11 ways to make money in probate. And that's other than being a real estate agent, what else you can do to make money in probate. So make sure you watch the right one. And today we're going to talk about number 2, which is probate leads, marketing to the petitioner. This scenario is generally you're going to buy the data from somebody, though you could possibly go to the court on your own and find it. Look up who the petitioner is, whether it be an executor or administrator, and then contacting them to do business with them. So number 1, buying leads. Where do you get the leads from? It varies. Some counties are very easy to get. It's online. You download it. Some counties have some of the information online. Other counties, there are vendors who go to court, pull the data, and resell it. On my website, the LAProbateexpert.com, I have a probate data source list of the sources I'm familiar with and my review of them. Foreclosure Daily has Probate Daily. And on the website, I have a coupon code BG035. I don't get anything for it, but you get a discount of 20 or 30% if you use them. And they'll give you a book if you request it by Kevin Sills, a great book on covering probate. So that's one good source. I think it's it's the cheapest way to get in the door. At the other end of the spectrum, the higher service touch is alltheleads.com, other vendor that does a full service approach. I subscribe to their website. I actually copy their content to my KV Core website. So I'm paying them monthly, even though I'm not using their website structure. I'm just paying for the right to use their content, which I think is good. I buy their brochures. I've bought their data, not currently, because it is a little more expensive. They have a CRM, and they have great training and coaching programs. So alltheleads.com is another source. But again, if you go to my website, the LAProbateexpert.com, and on the right-hand side, there's probate data sources. You'll see a whole list of them. or call or text, email me or text me. I'd be glad to get that for you. So what are the activities? Well, I would say that like any other real estate, it's calling, mailing, call, mail, call. I think mailing is effective in this particular niche because you know who the person is you're trying to mail to. One of the challenges of direct mail today, one of the opportunities is there's less mail, less competition. One of the opportunities here is you know who the target is. You know who filed a petition for the probate. You know their address. It's usually in the court filing. So you're actually mailing to a person that can affect that transaction. I would mail as I call them and I know that it's a good deal. They're a good person. They're alive. They're whatever, because that will lower your costs. If you can weed out 10, 20% of your data as being bad, you'll save your mailing costs. It generally could take 6 months on average to start seeing business. I think in real estate, you tell me, you guys are online, so Jamie, Jess, Lisa, I don't know about you, but every study I've ever seen says the average lead from first contact to check on average is 2 years. So as realtors, we look for the 30-day deal, the 6-month deal. That's great, and there's some there. But we need to play the long game. And probate is a longer game because you add the legal process on top of the normal real estate process, and it just adds more time to it. So you have to have a process. So if you're going to mail, think about how you're going to mail to them, or are you over a 6-month period or a 2-year period? And I like postcards rather than letters because they're cheaper. And I also think that you need to have a system in place to stay in touch with them for a period of time, but you have to then weed out the bad data so you're not spending money on people who aren't interested. Mail wide first and then narrow down. I think that in the beginning you want to maybe mail, you want to call, then mail, and then try to find people. We'll say, oh yeah, I recognize you. But then at some point you need to be mailing to people you're talking to and not mailing to the others, because every month there's new probates, you're adding to your list. And again, I would urge you, and this is not something you're going to hear from the data source companies, but something I'll tell you, my experience is the average lead is about 2 years. And so you need to have a marketing strategy that's going to hang that long, or you're giving up before the miracle happens. Some people include heirs, but you're trying to find who's in charge. And then I would say cheaper more often rather than more expensive a few times. But you'll get your own rhythm and system to that. Anybody here do direct mail for their real estate currently? Put in the chat box yes, or raise your hand, or unmute yourself, say yes. I think direct mail is just a huge opportunity waiting for us real estate agents to master. Again, the online stuff, Google and Amazon, Zillow to some degree. One way we can really get around them is bolstering our personal relationship with direct mail. Okay, door knocking, obviously problematic with COVID, but what I would say is for realtors so inclined to door knock, probates make a great addition to door knocking like expireds, but the strategy is similar. You can't just go from probate to probate to probate because there's not enough of them. You spend too much time driving, you'll make enough contacts per hour. So you want to door knock the probate and then hit 10 doors around it. And you'll find that way 3 doors down, they know who the brother is who's controlling things. They've seen the daughter come by. They may own that house. It was mom and dad's house, and they live 3 doors down. And so door knocking definitely has some synergistic effects in probate. Again, COVID, with its obvious restrictions, changes that for now, but that's going to change over time. Also, I would say working with investors and wholesalers. As a real estate agent, I regularly host a weekly Zoom call for investors, wholesalers, in general in real estate investment. I invite them to my probate call because they're out looking for deals and they find title problems. I help them unwind. And so some of them need to be listed. I do those. Some don't need to be. I don't do those. But we work together on it. And I'm literally closing my second wholesale kind of, it's a real estate transaction. My second in a row that kind of looks like a wholesale, making really good money doing that as well. So definitely encourage you to work with investors and wholesalers as a key part of your lead generation system. I think like everything else, track your numbers. Anything worth doing is worth doing well. The only way to know that is if you're tracking your numbers and seeing what's costing you and what your work looks like. And in terms of strategies, Again, I think you have to come from being of service, really important in probate. You don't need to worry about that they're still in mourning. They filled out the forms to file probate, legally filed the form and mailed it off. You have to be sensitive in the course of discussion, but I don't think you need to avoid them. You don't need to imagine they're sitting in home on their floor in ashes in black clothes. I think these are people who are have come to a point where they're willing to deal with the business reality. They have taxes coming due on the property. They have mortgages in many cases due on the property. There's other money due on the property. Maybe they're worried about squatters, parts of the country. It's a good time to sell now. It might not be in the wintertime. So again, come from being a service, not focusing on getting a contract. And then you want to weed out the losers to lower your cost, and then you can increase your mailing. Again, I think it's important that you make your phone calls and just make an assessment. Some people you can just tell that they're just difficult to work with. They don't want to work with a realtor, or they don't want to work with you. I'm not saying give up on them. I'm just saying not to spend the money there. Put the money on the people that you talk to, that you feel a connection to, that maybe are connected to attorneys that you're working with even more so. Use your mailing list as a strategic decision who you're mailing to and who you're not. Multiple contacts, you're building a relationship. It's not just a cold call. The goal is, the first call is to begin a relationship. And that way you have a mail, a phone call, maybe email, maybe social media, if you get them added into that, add that strategy into it. So you're attacking them from multiple ways, and you're building a relationship with them. And hopefully you're building yourself as a resource to people like that. Don't take no for an answer. No is just not for now. But doesn't mean, they'll say, oh, we're gonna handle it ourselves. And that sounds great until they realize how much work's involved, particularly out-of-state owners. Oh yeah, we're gonna fly out in a few months and we're gonna clean the house up. It's not a big deal. It's a big deal. In California, to get a U-Haul from California to, doesn't matter where, but say Illinois, recently a client, it costs 7 times as much to go to Illinois as it does from Illinois. So if you live in Illinois, it sounds reasonable maybe to rent a truck for $300, but going from California to Illinois is going to cost you $2,100. So it's very expensive. It's hard to get. I think in May and June, we're all going to find nationally, these shipping companies are going to be filled up with stuff. They're not going to be building more in wood. And so people, it sounds easy when they start. It's like selling a house. It sounds easy. It just, if it was easy, I wouldn't work as hard as I do. And so don't take no for no, just take no for now. Everybody has an agent. Everybody knows an agent. Everybody talks to agents. Don't let that get you off track. If you position yourself as a probate expert, they're more inclined to circle back to you because you've created value for them. If you're just another agent, why should they call back to you? They know one. But if you are the only probate expert they talk to. And so we don't get expertise by taking one class. We get expertise by committing ourselves to becoming experts and working on it on a regular basis. And then either work with or co-op their attorney or their service, meaning if they have an attorney, your goal is either to work with them, and then the attorney is really the relationship you're working on, or pull them away from the attorney and get them to your attorney or your service, one way or the other. And everyone can make that conscious decision. I'm not, again, I'm not looking to pull business away from people, but sometimes the attorneys just aren't competent to handle the client's needs. And therefore, I do want to get them get that business out of their hands into another service if possible. And I always encourage customers to consider a probate document service as an alternative. I think it's much cheaper, unless there's some litigation involved. Generally, it doesn't make sense to hire an attorney with extra expenses. Remember the hierarchy of contacts is no different in probate than other real estate. Mail, text, email, phone, meeting. The goal of mail is to get involved with them maybe on a text. Email maybe a little more business oriented or personal. Then a phone call discussion. The purpose of the phone is to generate a meeting. So our goal of our marketing is to move us towards meetings and seeing people. And I would say that's why it's so important to see the property. There's nothing that's going to get somebody to accept your expertise than the fact that you've seen the property already. And I tell people, yeah, I go look at every probate property in our market. That's my business. I specialize in probate. So I drove by our property and I noticed extra cars there. I noticed trash. I noticed mail piled up at the front door or no mail piled up at the front door. All these are things that people are interested to find out about. And so you want to see the property, particularly if it's in your geographic area. That's why I asked today in the group, what county do you work? I think really probate, you have to work a narrower geography. I would rather see somebody work the same areas of real estate and a courthouse they can go to regularly than work multiple counties they're never going to get involved with. Keep notes and use them as a weapon. This is no different than any other real estate sales, but I think because probate's longer, how many heirs they have, who the attorney is, they have multiple properties, they have out-of-state properties. Keep your notes and use those notes as your weapon to get business from people. Okay, so to wrap up, again, just to kind of go through the points real fast. We talked about you got to buy the leads, or you can get them from the courthouse, depending on what court you're in. And then your activities are going to be calling and mailing. You want to mail wide at first, but you want to narrow it down because you want to be available for the long haul. Door knocking is a critical piece of this puzzle, whether it be you doing it or an assistant or a colleague or somebody you work with. Work with investors and wholesalers. They can also do some of the door knocking with you. I buy data and give it to investors, wholesalers, and they'll do the door knocking for me. Track your numbers, of course. And then you want to also come from being of service, not getting a contract. Weed out the losers to lower your costs. It's a relationship building process. There's multiple contacts involved. Don't take no just for now, especially in probate. It's a long process. It's way more complicated than imagined generally. And so everybody has an agent, just like every other real estate niche. Everybody has an agent, but very few of them are really probate specialists. And if you are, make sure they know that you are. Either work with or co-op with their attorney. So either you want to work with them, and that's your new referral source, or you want to move the client to a better attorney or better document prep source. And then remember the hierarchy. The goal of all this is to get to meet people, and you may need a permission to go drive the property. You can go by and see it from the outside. You can door knock it, see who's there. If there's tenants, meet the tenants. It's a big advantage. If you get in the house, make sure you take photos. Those are invaluable to investors to make offers on property, and keep notes. Okay, so additionally, I do some programs. Tuesday, real estate investment, and remodeling Tuesdays. Wednesday, we do multifamily out of state. Thursday, I do probate weekly. This is my lead gen program. I invite investors, wholesalers, local realtors for attraction. EXP agents are welcome. Just don't take my leads, but you're welcome to come to probateweekly.com, and that's free every Thursday at 4 o'clock. That doesn't apply to you guys because that's my KV core number. If you text it, it won't work. But if you just go to my website, the LAProbateExpert.com, I have on the far right probate resources, probate data, and you'll have everything there that is text back to people normally. Okay, so I talked quickly, but I did mean to get this stuff all covered. Questions? No? No questions? Lisa, Jamie, Jess, we're all good? Was it helpful?
Yeah, I think so.
Anybody here, do you do any probate business currently? Is this something you're marketing or lead generating in? No?
For me, I am.
You are, what area are you in, Jess?
I'm in Riverside. I'm in Corona, so I'm right in Riverside, San Bernardino, and Orange County.
Got it. Have you ever been to the courthouse, or it's like courthouse or Orange County courthouse?
I have Riverside and LA actually. I grew up. My dad is a probate realtor.
Wow, who's your dad?
His name's Jerry Redmond. He hasn't been very active in the last couple of years. He's trying to get back on it. But I remember. What's that?
We spoke on the phone. I remember now.
Yeah. So I did go when I was younger with him to probate court. I remember.
Me too. My dad was an attorney.
Yeah, and then I started going prior to COVID in Riverside, and now it's opening back up, so I'll be going again.
My lead gen before COVID was I went every day to court. The first hearings were at 8:30. I would get there at 7:45, buy a cup of coffee. It was like a main area. Like I would stand right in the middle. I wore a suit and tie. I looked like an attorney.
Yeah.
I had a briefcase like an attorney, and I would just meet. And my goal was to meet 1.5 people a day, name, address, phone number, email, and permission to follow up with them on something. And I did that for a year and a half. It was fantastic.
Yeah. Is that how you got? I know you said on one of the calls you had like 20 transactions in place.
I had
And
25
then COVID
transactions.
hit.
Yeah, in 1 year, I went from 0 to 25 transactions pending.
Holy cool. Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was a great run, and it was really combination of meeting people in the hallway, meeting petitioners in the research room, listening in the court, and then noting case problems. I would email the attorney, hey, I saw your case and this, that has been contested. I can see that now you probably has to be sold with court approval. So I specialize in, I'd love to chat with you on how I can help make them more effective, and got leads that way, got listings that way. So
Yeah.
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah, that's
a
lot.
So go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just going to say that's an interesting way to go about it versus, calling petitioners or trying to call attorneys, because that's a challenge.
Yeah, my vision is to build out a team of people who are working kind of together. One maybe going to court every day, one or more going to visit properties every day, one or more cold calling petitioners, one or more cold calling attorneys, developing relations with attorneys, and then kind of coordinating all that together. That's kind of what I'm working on right now, nationally. Okay. So obviously some can be with an EXP. Obviously, it's a great opportunity to attract as well. So I'm kind of doing some of both of them.
Right. Very cool.
Great. Any questions? Anything I can help with, you guys?
When you form a relationship with a probate attorney, what do you say when you try to follow up with them if you just kind of form that initial relationship?
So, Jamie, where are you located?
I'm located in Laguna Niguel.
Okay. So one thing is when we use the word probate attorney, can mean a couple things. In California, the judges have helpers that review the files and the petitions and the documents and recommend to the judge what to do. And those are called probate attorneys. They're hired by the county under the direction of the judges. So when we say probate attorney, just make sure we're clear. We're not talking about the court appointed probate attorneys to review the files. You're talking about the attorneys that customers hire to help them through the probate.
Right, customers hired.
Got it. And I'm sorry, your question again regarding them is?
I'm sorry?
Your question was regarding those attorneys?
If I made a connection with one of those attorneys and I formed an initial relationship with them,
sure.
How do I follow up with them to see if they have any cases that I could work on?
So first off, you might want to research the probate, if you subscribe to service, and research how many probates they've actually done. One thing I found was that 95% of cases are handled by attorneys that do one case a year or less. So odds are, if you just meet one randomly, they don't have any other business to refer to you. And it's kind of like, when you see a mortgage, I don't know, in the old days when you worked in your office all day long, and you see a mortgage loan officer soliciting a real estate agent in your office that you knew wasn't doing any business, right? That's kind of how it is for us. If we're chasing attorneys, but they don't do any probate. So I do think that it's a relationship game, and I think everybody is of value to a point, but you want to be careful about how much time you invest in that relationship. So I would urge you to research and see how much probate they actually do, or how active a practice they really have. They might have other things that they do more of, but it's no different than any other relationship. It's no different than any friend that you have. Attorneys, almost all attorneys outside of COVID, almost all attorneys, if you call them, invite them to lunch, will go to lunch with you. That's kind of like a attorney way of doing business. They go to lunch and meet people in a professional environment and meet them personally, and then you ask for business, but that's how the process kind of starts. So just kind of know that's an alternative. Hey, I'd love to meet with you. Wondering if you might be free for lunch one day next week where we can get a chance just to meet each other. Are you available Tuesday, or is Thursday better for you? And most attorneys, again, outside of COVID, and you're in Laguna, I'm in LA, we really can't do that here today. But I think you can in Laguna, whenever you can, I'd say lunch. Second, I would say this, like any other relationship, it's about creating value for them. Emailing them, social media, postcards. I use mailbox power to send brownies and such as gifts to people, coffee mugs. So just all the normal things you use to build a relationship with somebody, you would use with the attorney. But they're more liable or more likely to go to lunch with you than any other professional group. Realtors find that weird, right? If I could, especially when I was a mortgage loan officer and I approached a female realtor, that was always a weird thing. With attorneys, that's really normal. The other thing I did was I would download the hearings on a daily basis, and I would look for the attorneys I wanted to meet in court. Now that's different now because of COVID, they don't have to go to court. But what I used to do is I would see when they're going to be in court, and I would bump into them down in Department 4. Oh, I didn't know you'd be here. Huh, funny meeting you. Can I buy a cup of coffee afterwards? I did that a lot. So I just bumped into people. Find out, also I would say, find out what hearings, if any, they have to show up for. In Orange County, you don't have very many court sales. So not those. I don't know enough about the Orange County Court to tell you, but in LA County, certain hearings they'll show up for, trials and such. Some will, some won't. One of the things about COVID is that meeting them at court kind of went away. A couple other things I would say: you could join the local bar association. Here in LA, we have the LA Bar, we have the Beverly Hills Bar, the Santa Monica Bar, Century City Bar, and the Valley Bar. I just belong to LA, but there they have classes. Some real estate agents sponsor events and get kind of publicity that way. Working with the Bar Association. This is as an affiliate, just like lenders and title joined the Realtor Association as affiliates. I joined the Bar Association as an affiliate. And also gives really good information. They have like a chat room for the members. I'm able to learn in, which is great, and participate in. So anyhow, just like any other relationship, Jamie. Does that help a little bit?
Yes, thank you.
Great. Okay, any other questions before we wrap up? We do this every week. This week was number 2, was petitioner, marketing to petitioners. Number 3 will be attorneys, and we'll continue through until we cover all 11 ways. You're welcome to my YouTube channel and find the 11 ways there, or any of the other recordings. Appreciate you guys. If you have any questions, want to split a deal, referral deal, I can help at all. I'm bill.gross at exprealty.com. Thanks so much. Have a fantastic week, everybody.